Hey now, what is up everybody? My name is Mike Brown, aka ReviewKingMB. I am doing my 31 days of horror movie reviews, and I am continuing the REC series with REC 2. This is a 2009 Spanish horror film, and it's interesting because originally there was REC. REC was in 2007, and then it was such a big hit that America took it and said, well, we're going to remake it and call it Quarantine. And that, too, I think was a pretty decent hit. People liked it. So now we get a sequel, but not a sequel to Quarantine. No, they made a sequel to REC. REC 2 picks up right where the end of the first movie left off. And you see this doctor, Dr. Owens, with the SWAT team, and they're going to go into the building, the original apartment building from the first movie, because, well, the doctor knows what's going on, but the SWAT team just thinks they're going in there to clear everything out and make sure everything is okay, look for survivors. And it's not that long until they realize that there's more going on here, that there is some infection, some virus going around. But not just that. According to this movie, it's not just an infection, it's people possessed. And we find out that the doctor is a priest. He's trying to make sure that this evil, this demons, doesn't get out of this building. Now, what I thought of REC 2 was, I didn't hate this movie. I didn't. But I didn't love it either. I didn't. It's just one of those things where there are elements of this movie that I enjoy and that I like. There are moments that I like. For example, the very beginning of the movie, seeing this SWAT team and this doctor go into the apartment building. I love that. I love that it was a direct continuation from the first movie, because they did make a sequel to Quarantine, some direct-to-DVD sequel, and it's awful. It's terrible. It's a piece of crap. I won't bother rewatching it or reviewing it, but it's lame, it's lackluster. This sequel, when I saw that it's a direct connection, a direct continuation, and that they were going into the same apartment building, I instantly was like, awesome. But I also was wondering, well, why didn't America just redo this sequel as well? Take the sequel and make an American version out of it. I was confused until you got to the part where you find out that the doctor is in fact a priest, and he puts up a cross to one of the infected people, and they stop, and he recites all of this religious stuff, and you see that it's not, at least this movie, it's not an infection, it's not as much of a virus or zombies like we initially thought, like the first movie would make you believe. This movie, it's like these people are possessed by this ultimate demon, and I didn't like that. I didn't. Not that you couldn't have told the story, not that you couldn't have had a possession movie, a found footage possession movie, or these demons and this priest and the whole, like, hey, this cross and his religion and faith will protect him and stop these demons. Like, I don't mind all of that stuff in general. I'm not really religious, but again, I can watch a movie about that and find it interesting. This just felt like a complete left turn from what that first REC movie was. And I said in that review, I'll say it again, that what I really enjoyed about REC and even Quarantine is that it is an infection. That it's a realistic infection, that at least Quarantine played it up like it was some rabies virus that went to the next level and then transferred to humans, and that it had the same symptoms, but it was the most realistic zombie apocalypse I think I've ever seen in a movie, and that's why I connected with it. Also, the claustrophobia and the whole not trusting the cops outside as they keep you blocked in, that was scary as well, but the infection was something that I enjoyed. So it's like the sequel, we're not even staying true to that. We're not even keeping in that same light. We're going in a whole new story that, sure, maybe this would have been interesting. Maybe I would have liked it more if it was its own thing. It's almost like Halloween 3 all over again. Not quite. This is more connected than that was, but still, I just feel like this goes in such a different direction, and that's not what I wanted to see. I guess I can see now why they didn't remake the sequel. We also get to a point where we see the second group of kids who they have their own camera as well, and they see the commotion going on in this building, so they find a way to sneak into the building as well, and once they get in there, they instantly realize that they're screwed. Now that, of course, you don't really feel bad for the kids because they're fucking idiots, but I will say that there's a moment with them where they're going at the windows, and it seems like they took this from the American remake of Wreck, Quarantine, where they're at the windows and they're trying to get out, and then they start getting sniped. This movie, they do that too, where they're trying to get out the window and then they start getting sniped and shot out. So you do have that element of the outside, locking them in, not letting them out. So that too was creepy. There are creepy moments here. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying I was never scared. I was more creeped out at the beginning when it was the SWAT guys going in there and it was quiet at first and they were searching around. They didn't see anybody because I knew it was building. I knew what was coming. But once it started going to the religion aspect and the demon aspect, I was caught off guard by it, and it lost some of that scary factor to me. But sure, there are moments when infected, or I guess possessed people jump out of rooms or run down the hall and it's in the camera point of view. Yes, this is found footage as well. Found footage can always, it helps get that extra boost of realistic or creepiness because you're in that point of view. You don't know what's going on. This movie actually does something that I don't remember other found footage movies really doing. Maybe there's another one, somebody might mention it, but this movie actually had cameras where the battery died. What? Like I said, there's a second group of kids with a camera, and so when the first group of SWAT guys, when their camera gets busted or broken or whatever, we cut to the new kids' camera, and then their camera, the battery dies. So then we cut to another person's camera, like they're using different resources of cameras because realistically, because I know when I use my camera outside, the battery dies, and the battery dies quick. So I liked that little aspect. Again, some weird moments because this is now possession, where an infected person, they lock behind the door, they put a cross on it so he stops acting erratic. And then the second group of kids, they come in and they hear a little girl's voice. Sounds like she needs help. And it's at that door. They open the door and it's the infected guy. And they don't know how he was making that noise. Hell, we don't really know how or where that noise was coming from, the little girl's voice. But it's just weird. It's almost like this went into a supernatural place. Some people might enjoy that. I saw some of the reviews for this movie are pretty high, so I guess more people were into it than I was. I will say that once the character Angela, the reporter from the first movie played by Manuela Velasco, when she came back, I was happy. I was happy to see that her character didn't die. I was happy to see the actress came back, because I love whenever a main character comes back in a horror movie and they get to be a part of the story again. But the ending of this movie, I won't give it away, because I know probably there are some people who haven't seen it, maybe they want to see it, but the ending of this movie, if you're with the change in direction of the story, if you're with the possession stuff, if you're with the religion stuff and the cross and the priest, if you're okay with all of that, then you might not mind this ending. I just didn't really like it. I didn't. It's another one of those downbeat, depressing endings, and I didn't want it to go that way. I clearly did not care for Wreck 2. I didn't hate it. I did not hate it. This isn't what I wanted. If you put a different name on this movie, and if I watched it as that, I might have been into it. But as a Wreck sequel, just wasn't for me. So guys, let me know in the comments below if you too did see Wreck 2. What did you think of it? Do you agree with me? Do you think it works as a sequel or not? Thanks for watching. Like, comment, subscribe. Later!
Please won't you say my desire.